Do you ever feel inadequate? Like you're not enough? Or perhaps you just feel like a complete failure? How do you know when it's time to get help? We're going to talk about that and how I found out why I was feeling the way that I was coming up. Hi, I'm Daniel, and this is Journey to Wellness, a place where I talk about what it's like, truly like, living with ADHD as an adult. I'm a complete failure. Everything I do just turns to shit. I just feel so inadequate as a person. I have nothing good or valuable to offer anybody. I'm just letting everyone that I love down. Does any of this sound familiar? Now, I've kind of had thoughts like these since my childhood, but I could always seem to find a way to make them go away, to ignore them. But as I got older, that changed. They were never this intense, this visceral, this overwhelming. As an adult, the consequences of my failures just held much higher stakes. It was just a few years ago when these thoughts were at their strongest, berating me constantly throughout my day, till finally I couldn't take it anymore. I'd had it. I'd had enough. It was time to do something. It was time to make a change. Little did I know that this one decision would be the beginning of a life-changing journey. This is my journey to wellness. Hi there, I'm Daniel, and this is Journey to Wellness. And as you can see, I live out in the country, so that's where I make my videos. But that's not what this channel is about. This channel is about me bringing to light what ADHD truly looks like in an adult. I think there's a lot of stigma around ADHD that needs to be dealt with because it's not helping anybody. Certainly not those that suffer with the condition, as I do. Today, I wanted to start kind of from the beginning to kind of kick off the channel, or re-kick off the channel, that is. I have a couple older videos up that you can probably see, but I wanted to redo this and do it right this time and stay consistent, because lately I've been filled with a lot of passion for this topic, for ADHD in adults specifically. I feel like a lot of people don't realize how serious of a condition it really is. Now, for those of you that have it, you get it. Those of you that know that you have it, you get it. What I'm concerned with are, first of all, the people that don't know they have it. Because that was me about 2 years ago. I didn't know that ADHD was affecting my life. I didn't know that it was causing a lot of the problems that I was having. And it all started with wanting to make a YouTube channel, ironically. About 3 or 4 years ago, I started having this desire to create. I wanted to create something. I wanted to create YouTube videos. I saw that a lot of people were doing it. It looked fun. And so the greatest advice was start with your passion. And well, that kind of threw a wrench in my plans because I didn't know what my passion was. And well, the thing is, if you want to find your passion, look to the thing that you're good at. What are you good at? What do you do well? And that was kind of a dark area. That was a dark alley for me to go down. Because truthfully, I didn't have anything that I did well. Looking back on my life, looking back to my childhood interests, looking back to everything, I couldn't find anything that was popping out. Nothing was coming to mind. You would think that, you would probably think that everybody has something they do well, right? Well, I feel like I'm a good driver. I hope so. I have a Class A license. But, knowing some drivers, they give those out to anybody nowadays. But just looking back on my life, I couldn't find anything that stood out. Nothing had gone right for me in my life, really. When I look back, all I saw was past failure after past failure after failure. And then a few more failures. This was not encouraging, and it sent me into a deep depression. I felt very inadequate as a person. I didn't feel like I had anything to offer myself or the world. Mostly myself. I had to take care of myself before I worried about taking care of the world, right? So there I was, looking around, and nothing coming to mind. Nothing showing up. Except a bunch of failures. And as you can imagine, if you feel like your life is nothing but failure after failure, you're not going to feel very good about yourself, are you? Well, how do you think that I felt? I felt pretty worthless, really. I felt useless. But in addition to my past failures, I couldn't help but notice my current failures. That I hadn't stopped failing yet. I wasn't done. And as you can imagine, that just added to the fire. Things in my life weren't going very well. The only thing that I could say that was going well was my marriage. I'm very fortunate to have a wonderful wife who is very loving, caring, beautiful. And that was about the only thing that was going well, but everything else was starting to fall apart around me. Financially, not succeeding. As far as jobs go, felt stuck at a job that I was starting to lose interest in, that wasn't fulfilling what I wanted it to fulfill anymore. I wanted more. I wanted to really make it. But looking at my past failures combined with my current failures and my failings that I was going through at the time, it just made me feel like a failure at life in general. That's not a good place to be. I just felt hopeless, like things were never going to change, they could never get better. And looking at it at the current path I was on, there was no light at the end of the tunnel. There was nothing, just more failure, more disappointment. But then I noticed something, and I guess something that I feel like I've always been pretty good at is being in tune with myself and my feelings. I'm always one of those people, I wear my heart on my sleeve. So when I noticed that these feelings weren't going away, that this was different. This wasn't like being disappointed or being sad as a kid or anything like that. This was much different. This was deep. It affected me to my core, to who I was. And it was at that time that I realized I need to get help. I can't handle this on my own. Fortunately, I can say that I was never suicidal. I never thought about harming myself or anyone else. But I'd always wondered, how do people get to that point? And all I could think about was, what if I got to that point? What if I let this go on? What if I let this continue? I didn't think I was that bad. I didn't think I was depressed or anything. I mean, I didn't think I was clinically depressed or anything like that. I just thought, I'm hitting a rough patch. But this feeling was just so intense that I just couldn't shake it. I couldn't ignore it. And at that point, I realized that it was time for help. It was time to talk to somebody. But who? Who do I talk to about this? I mean, what, do I go cry in a beer to my friends? they're having problems in their life too, who do you talk to? So I started looking up on the internet because I didn't know where else to go, feelings of severe inadequacy and things like that. And eventually I found out, well, the best place to turn immediately is to your doctor. And so that's what I did. And I'll tell you what, that was the best decision I made so far. Out of all the stupid decisions I made in my life, that one decision to seek help was the best thing I could have done for myself.